Never seen a fourth wall break before.
I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, it was actually an episode I was looking forward to because I always really love it when Doctor Who goes back to the past. And I think it's because I'm a bit of a sucker for more historical oriented dramas.
I think it'll be hard to beat this season for like one of the best episodes, just because I loved how much lore they brought with it as well.
I really, really enjoyed Devil's Chord. I think out of the two stories, that was definitely the better one. I think it was definitely most ambitious and exciting and in your face and really interesting. And it felt so Doctor Who, but also felt so new as well, in a really good way.
Devil's Chord was an interesting one because I liked it as a Doctor Who fan. Oh God, I mean, it's one of those don't think a lot about it. How does the work where there's no music except rubbish music, but people hate music and they're disgusted by it, but they're still making it. So who's buying this music that everyone hates and is awful? Don't worry about it, just leave it. Just go with it. It is what it is.
Batshit insane wonderfulness, epicness, bloody spectacularness. Yeah, it's just insane.
No, I absolutely loved it. We got it in. I can't fault that episode. With the other one I could, but that one no fault.
Let's just get Jinx Monsoon out of the way. Brilliant. What a brilliant characterization. Terrifying. Yes.
She was excellent as the Maestro. I mean, Jinx Monsoon literally tore up any scenery they were in.
Maestro is a brilliant character. I don't think we'll see her again anytime soon. Sorry, them.
See them anytime soon.
My apologies. But I think they're absolutely brilliant and terrifying.
I really, really enjoyed Jinx Monsoon's performance.
Yeah.
I thought, like, Doctor Who has a lot of villains who are in this vein of being very kind of theatrical, and I thought that they were just different enough from the Master and the Toymaker. Well, obviously they are related to the Toymaker. I thought they were just different enough that they did justify themselves being a different presence.
Yeah, I guess the closest was Missy, but they were so different. I feel that there's no villain like them.
Yeah.
And it made sense for like someone who's an embodiment of music. They are so bad at music, it's hilarious.
It's one of those roles where it needs to be massive, it needs to be arch, and it does need. I mean, if someone said, who would you have? It's like as a drag act kind of performance, and it should be because it's got that to it.
I thought Jinx Monsoon was amazing. Really liked Jinx Monsoon. Really cool.
The shouting, and obviously she's like mental and batshit insane, but
That tackle of a laugh.
yeah, the laugh, the sinisterness of her, and the way she just went about everything and breaking the fourth wall as well. Like about to play the piano, she's just like, now, and then doing the dun to the like.
And the meta where the Doctor now knows what the theme tune of his TV show sounds like. That's meta. It's so meta.
The Doctor Who theme tune being played by Jinx Monsoon on a piano, not once but twice. The first time, I didn't really mind too much. I mean, it was basically, they were basically playing the Doctor Who theme tune, began to play the Doctor Who theme tune on the piano, and then it would go to the opening titles with that piano rendition of the theme tune. I didn't mind that.
I guess I could say, I think it's a shame the Beatles didn't really get a whole lot to do. They were kind of like window dressing this on the side. I guess a little bit like how Hitler was in Let's Kill Hitler. And they're just sort of there. And I kind of feel like one thing I think they could have done a bit better is that maybe, I don't know if they established that maybe Paul and John struggled writing together, but they really needed to come together. There was a lot of tension. Would have made the moments where they came together to find the final chord at the end a bit more satisfying, I guess.
I was honestly expecting from the shots we've seen that they would maybe be in it for like 5 minutes at most, but the fact they had conversations with them, sat down and spoke to them, the two more popular ones as well. I'm not saying George and that are lesser, but
I wouldn't use the word popular. I would say
better known.
The more significant one, because of the writing that they actually produced, because they were the duo that were pretty much all the Beatles films. Yes, the other ones had influences and made their own quirks into it, but they were the sole band. The one that for their 10 years writing, they wouldn't be the bands they were. And then the rest when they went on and had the massive solo career that they had years later.
No, exactly.
I was over the moon because there was one, I saw it in the corner of the studio and my jaw dropped, the Mrs. Mills piano. I danced in my seat. Oh my God, they've just mentioned Mrs. Mills! It's one of my life ambition is to play the Mrs. Mills piano, but to actually have her mention Gladys Mills, I was squeeing in my seat.
How are you feeling about Shruti's Doctor at this point? And
Oh
Millie?
man. It's probably one of the best casting decisions they've made for any Doctor. Like, his energy is so good. I watched him in Sex Education for such a long time, and he's brought that wacky energy, but when he went up against Jinx Monsoon and Jinx was like climbing over the piano and stuff, and he like did that smirk, and I was like, oh, that's the Doctor right there. It's amazing.
See, my first introduction into Shruti was actually the Horrible Histories movie, because I knew about Sex Education, but I never like watched it until recently. I've seen a couple of episodes, but like I don't know if this is too early for me to say, but he might be one of my favourite Doctors. I just love his energy instantly. He's just so funny. He's so like on the ball, but like when he needs to be serious, he can like switch just like that, and that's what I like about him. He's just I want more already.
But I do like how the Doctor actually mentioned Susan in this episode.
He's assuming that Susan is dead because he thinks all the Time Lords were destroyed through space and time. I think he's inferring to the Master. Possibly. Killing him in the Timeless Child more than actually.
Yeah. But again, we don't have any evidence of that actually. My belief that there's probably still Time Lords out there somewhere. Yeah. But again, we don't know. It was nice of them to point out. So I live over there. I'm living over there in Shoreditch, just over there. 76 Tortoise Lane.
Oh, so I do have a bit of a theory though, because it was a nice, fun little nod to past stories. I mean, two actually. We got an Earthly Child callback, and also weirdly a Pyramid of Mars callback for the whole taking Ruby to the future. See, this is what happens if we don't fix things. But it's so bizarre how this is the first time I think Susan has ever been like explicitly named in New Who. And that can't be a coincidence, surely. Like, they're really hammering in these themes of, being orphaned, being alone, not being born wrong, being left behind. There's been a huge theme. They've I think I've hammered it in a little too ham-fisted, honestly, for the first opening stories. So the fact that we're clearly going with this theme makes me think my theory is, I think Ruby might be like Susan's daughter. I think the lady that dropped Ruby, her mother, at the beginning of Church Ruby Road, I think that's Susan. I think it would make sense, like the one Who way. So Susan is the original child that was like dropped and left and abandoned, left on her own. We've not seen her since. We've got confirmation that the Doctor's not entirely sure whether she survived the Time War or not. So I think it makes sense if Susan came back. I think the threads, the seeds are there.
Ending on a negative. The more I thought about it, I really don't like it. That crappy song at the end. What did you think?
See, for me, I wasn't that bothered by it. I know it's not every cup of tea, but it's fine doing something out of the box every once in a while. As long as
the dance number at the end was kind of terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
Basically, Doctor Who turning into Grease or Hairspray, where everyone just decided to break out into a musical number, where they had the Beatles joining, and there's that one woman that was singing alongside Ruby, and it was all glitz and glamour, and there's confetti, and the Doctor and Ruby had, it was all choreographed. It was, the Doctor and Ruby had parasols, and during that whole sequence, I was like, what the heck am I watching?
So the dance number, the big dance number, it's fine, because if 40 years of music is all, surging back at once, it's allowed to go a bit over the top before things subside again. It's fine.
Yeah, it's such a bop. I don't know if it's up there with the Goblin song, but it's such a bop. It's so good.
I was a bit undecided after it because I don't know why it just came out of nowhere for me, and I was like, it's growing on me, and I do like it.
I wasn't sure about that. I find it kind of ironic that as the big music piece to celebrate that music's back in the world, they chose the worst song they could have possibly chosen. I'm not saying it's not an awful song, but I feel like it wasn't that great. I feel like it was kind of one note, not very interesting melodically or rhythmically. The lyrics didn't leave much to be desired. I feel like, if you're going to go all out, I think they could have done a better job, honestly. And it went on for so long.
However,
go on.
And here is the caveat.
You were
and feel free to bleep this. I loathed the musical number at the end.
Thanks for
I
that.
hated it. I absolutely loathed it. I was worried that this was going to happen. I didn't like Ruby and the Doctor suddenly start singing in Church of the Ruby Road. I really didn't like it. And them to do it again, I'm going to let them away with it because music is the central theme of the episode, but I hated it. I hated it. It was a terrible song. It made me cringe. It didn't make me laugh. It didn't make me feel happy. I looked at it and going, this is terrible. I hated it. And that's coming from someone who's a musician.
But tonight, we're getting a full meeting here. We've got new people turning up to the Glasgow Doctor Who Society. And, I see a busy table full of people who are excited to discuss. And I felt like that's not been there for a long time. It's so wonderful. So, yeah, Devil's Chord wasn't the perfect episode, but you know what? It was mental, it was interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching the next one.
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Glasgow Doctor Who YouTube channel.